Hi everyone. I'm going to be presenting an Adminox project. It is an old project that I started last year and I'm resuming today. It's called Feast Table and it's issue 38, Archlabs Archive 17. It's all about feast and it comes from the culture that I come from and how people invite people into their houses and invite them to dinner or to a feast, and they don't have spaces in it. And that's where it came from. So, what is the issue? We've got rethinking spaces. So this is an illustration of some of the houses that have small spaces and people who struggle to invite a large number of guests over feast table. And then the feast table needs to be longer for the larger number of guests and adjustable for the small house spaces. So the idea is that we have an event with a high number of people and we want to be efficient with the use of the space. And the feast gathering around a meal requires a space. So I'm looking at kinetic architecture where it requires a movement for the object to be active, a product that is easy to move. And kinetic structure systems are structures that could be foldable, sliding, expanding, or transforming in sizes. And I want it to be comfortable and 3D printed, basically. A light structure. These are the references that I looked at. Obviously, this one is not a light structure, but I was looking at several options where this one is light. Well, it's concrete, but it's very light, and it's done by ETH, DPT, Digital Building Technologies, and it's 3D printed concrete slab. Kinetically responsive architecture. This is another example. This is another example. These are the kinetic patterns. So what is the research question? How can an object adapt to their residents' needs and space through physical gestures or visual expressions? So the concept was that human movement will occur and the table will pivot. It's either floatable, floating in the ceiling and it will drop down, or it's folded to the wall and it will pivot. And that was the concept in this sketch. But then the design took several directions. So how can you create an interesting function of a wall that turns into a table? And how can you kinetically transform a wall into a table? This is the sketch that I started with, and then the design developed into this. This when the form testing started, and then ended up to this. This is 2D drawings, and this is the axonometric of the table where it shows the table components and how it is assembled, and then finally how it is attached to the wall. Couple of renders where it shows it in a room, and then it changed into a lamp. So it can be a lamp standing as a lamp, and then it falls down, and then it became a seat, a little seat there, which I am not sure of keeping, basically. So this is how it looks like in the axonometric standing table on the wall in the room, and then how it comes down. This is a elevation. This is a front view. And 3D printing. This was the prototype that was supposed to be 3D printed. And that's what I'm aiming to do next, is test the actual form and print it, basically. And bibliography, and that's it. Thank you for listening.